Instead of making the ship faster, how about installing some seatbelts?
Seatbelts are dead weight. I feel the need for speed.
Yes, but I feel the nafety for safety.
Oh, fuff.
For torque screws, and then there's an additional 3 torque screws that actually retain the headlight.
While he's working on those, since twisting screwdrivers can be kind of boring, here's the new ones. These are just an Amazon special. LEDs, just like the current ones. Penny does have a nearly 100% conversion to LED lighting. And these have daytime running lights. We've been wondering what might be the 11th switch. Remember we have on our switch panel 1 blank. I'm thinking I might actually hook up the DRLs on these to that switch plate and fill out the entire switch panel before it gets installed for good.
The old headlights were basically a plug and play set up to magnet up to the old headlight socket. So they're a quick, easy, and out. This is as simple as plugging it back in.
So there's a yellow wire on the back of this one that will tie into the turn signal lights. I've never been quite happy with just this 3/4 button light. It does work, people see it, but it's so small. And so adding the ability for the turn signals inside the headlights, I think, will be kind of nice.
Okay. Well, and what I'm looking at is these keys key into, okay, those, like that. I was just looking at it and thinking we're going to be way off.
Headlights work. Thank you. So now we are moving on to the pillar lights. JK Gears and Gadgets are among many who had really good and helpful videos about when to use amber and when to use white light. And their video convinced me that the amber lights on the pillar was the way to go. So these are the same lights that I have on the bumper, but I instead ordered a cover for them that just simply snaps into place. So, oops.
Important to note that the captive behind these on your windshield is a floating bolt. So when you take these out, it is possible for them to move and make it very difficult to get them back in. So you want to kind of keep an eye on them as you are taking it out and getting the other piece reattached.
It's happened to us in the past, unfortunately. The solution we've used in the past has been riv nuts.
These can also seize, which is great fun when it occurs.
What Kenneth is installing here is just mounts for the pillar lights. Got the spot cleaned up. They have a nifty little rubber gasket to use.
Apparently needs to stick to this, not stick to that.
What's the matter?
Well, I got it to start. I got it to apply just a little bit of pressure so that hopefully this one will line up. On this side, we have previously replaced the floating captive bolt with riv nuts into the body because the previous bolts were seized. Makes this job a little simpler because you don't have to get the floating thing lined up. On the other hand, there is also no give in the alignment of anything at this point. Everything has to line up exactly or it does not go in. Fortunately, it does look like this is going to line up reasonably well for us.
Thank you, Rough Country. Got the mounts on with the help of the, generic IKEA tool. Haha, Allen wrench. And Kenneth is working on some wiring things, so these will sit here for a minute, but they are ready to go on the mounts. So the cowl needs to come off so that he can run the wiring the way he wants to run it. So that means I need to take off the windshield wipers. There's a little clip here that needs to be unclipped, and I can't do it with one hand, so. But Kenneth can. Get that little clip. There you go.
So the trick to these is you have to lift the wiper first and then pull the little clip down.
Got it.
Once the clips have been removed, you remove the series of screws across the top of the Jeep that hold the cowl in place.
And he's using Penny's built-in ladder system.
So removing the cowl, you'll need to pull the weather strip here back. It's okay. It's just kind of a spring clip that holds it onto the pinch swivel here anyway. But there are two forward-facing screws that will need to come off in order to remove the cowl from the vehicle. What we're going to do is to run the wiring from the pillar light under the cowl, probably right about where this indentation is, and then we'll come forward, probably leveraging like this space in here to bring our wiring out from under the cowl forward. The biggest problem with this is that there is this lip on the hood, so we want to be cognizant of that and keep the wiring low so it's not getting pinched by the hood. We've connected the wiring here and this comes from the rigid kit. You kind of need to use at least the pigtails that they give you because of these connectors. Unless you happen to have extras of these laying around that are this particular connector, you really kind of have to use at least the end of these pigtails. So might as well use the bulk of this wiring if you can. So the question we now need to establish is, based on the wiring I've got, I can probably come through somewhere in this vicinity. My relay box sits here, so I'd like to keep this, kind of short and clean. So I need to look for a spot kind of in this vicinity to come through from the under the cowl area into the engine compartment. So we're going to lift the hood back up and take a look and see what might make sense here.
That's all your ghost can do.
Yeah, well, apparently the force is weak.
Yep.
Okay. So in this area we've got a pretty significant amount of space between what is inside the vehicle and what is inside the hood. So not an easy pathway there. However, up here, it's thin. And so I think what we'll do is we'll punch a hole up in this vicinity, and we will come through right about where my thumb is at there, just below this main wiring harness. That gives us a nice clean hole through the firewall to route our wiring. We'll get a grommet on this so that we don't have wires against bare metal. And then this will be a nice clean routing up to our relay box. We have places where our wires are going to need to come out from behind the cowl. This lip edge on the cowl is fairly sharp, so we don't want that rubbing against our wire. What we're going to do is just remove it with the grinder so that we have a nice smooth spot for our wiring to come through. Where our CB antenna cable comes through. And we've seen it has the same problem where it's sitting there and it's being pinched and cut by the cowling. So this is a spot that is just above. We're going to want to locate that and create the same kind of relief for the CB antenna. Cowl in place, marking where that other wire is passing. This is another spot to create a little relief. Cowl goes back in, and the upper edge of the cowl needs to go into this channel across underneath the windshield. So make sure you're seating it into that channel as you go, and that your wires are coming through the recess or the relief that you created for them. That is now where I expect it to be. Now we lift the hood up.
Ghoster's back.
And again, make sure the cowl seats all the way down and is on the correct side of the weather stripping. And then attach the two screws that are behind the weather strip. Okay, I got one more cowl rope. Just like that, the cowl is back together. Now we're under the hood again. We have this lovely hole that we have now made in the firewall. We need to plug that hole and protect our wires. So for that end, we want to select a grommet that is about the size of the hole. over the end of our wire. Into our hole. The screwdriver may help. Cut. So just work it in there. Eventually the grommet will seat like it's supposed to, nice and flush. That protects the wires from the sharp edges of the metal. So now, that concludes getting the pillar lights physically installed. The next step will be to connect them to our relay box when we do the rest of the relay box wiring.